I start, I would like to express my sincere thanks to the educators, the staff, and the Citizen Volunteer Board of MTSD for the work that you do on behalf of all students, always, but especially during this very challenging time that we've been in. My name is Dr. Sheila Briggs, and I've been an educator in Wisconsin for over 30 years. I have worked in the classroom as a principal at the central office and state levels as a leader, and starting this week, I work at a national education consulting firm. And one of the reasons that I was asked to speak today is because I studied critical race theory in my doctoral work, and it was a main tenet of my conceptual framework when I studied racial consciousness in 2 high-achieving school districts. So I wouldn't label myself as an expert, but I do have a working knowledge of CRT. So since the national conversation has turned to CRT, I've had several teachers reach out to me. They're being accused of teaching CRT, and they'd never even heard of it. That's because it's not something we teach in our schools. It is a graduate level topic, and it is not a curriculum. The best way to frame it is that it's a lens for which you can view and analyze things. And while none of you came here tonight to have a graduate level course on CRT, the idea that racism in the U.S. is an ordinary experience for people of color is probably the best place to start with an understanding and is a key tenet of CRT. So this isn't the kind of racism that looks like torches and hoods. It's the kind that manifests itself in more subtle, systemic ways, like low expectations for certain students, or tracking students into high and low level courses based on race and not actual ability. Study after study has shown examples of this kind of bias across all industries, like when you do a study and submit the same resume for 2 jobs with only the name changed, and the white sounding name gets that job and the black sounding name does not. Or the study of preschool teachers, where the researchers asked them to identify behaviors that become a potential challenge in a video of children playing. Only there were no problem behaviors, yet the teachers overwhelmingly watched the black children as tracked by eye scanning technology, and they identified problem behaviors. So let me be clear, these are not bad people. They have unconscious biases, they don't even realize they're doing it, and they need to work to overcome these. This is a systemic problem, and this is work that we all need to do. So in our schools, that looks like training educators to understand this and work to identify the biases that they all hold. With children, it looks like working to build empathy, understanding, and acceptance in our next generation. Not by teaching them CRT, but by teaching them to think critically, to analyze situations for bias, how to accept, support, and care for one another, and how to understand the lived experience of someone that's different than themselves. And by teaching them history, even the stuff that we're terribly ashamed of. Not so that we feel guilty, but so that we can learn from our mistakes of the past to build a better future. So in closing, I would just say that MTSD has so much to be proud of. You are above state